Hi team, I don't think there's going to be that many more communing with the Campbell sessions on this sofa. Because we are less than, what are we? 3-4 weeks away from leaving. And this sofa will maybe never be seen again. It's a thought, isn't it?
God, that's making me really sad. I've breastfed all my kids on this sofa.
We're on a mission
To discover
if there's a better way.
So it's been a really extraordinary weekend. Is extraordinary the right word for it?
Well, you Campbells love saying the word extraordinary, so...
But look, let's talk you through it. So on Saturday, we visited a co-housing project in Cambridge called Marmalade Lane. We went and we stayed there overnight and met the community. And the idea of that was for them to meet us, for us to meet them, ahead of them deciding whether they would accept us for a longer term stay to do the research part and kick off our trip, basically. So there was a little bit of tension between us in terms of...
We didn't speak for like 24 hours.
Yeah.
Should I do that bit?
Yeah, you can do that bit.
So I got a message from Campo that just said, you're not going to like this, which is never a nice start to a message, is it? You're not going to like this, but we can't go to Dottie's birthday anymore. We need to go and stay at this place. I've already told him, so, that's it. And I was like, oh my goodness. I was so angry. I was like, I'm not going. You can go on your own. We spend the whole bloody 10 months of my life in a commune. Why do I have to spend another night when we've got a really fun day and night planned? Anyway, I was a bit cross. I cried. I told you I didn't want to do it. Anyway, Campo and I had a conversation and he explained the reasons why we should go and explained what has to happen. I went out with a couple of girlfriends and just went and spoke about it all. And they were brilliant at kind of understanding exactly how I was feeling, exactly my point of view, but also helping me see the bigger picture and seeing that this is our life and this is what we're doing and there's no going back now. So, go for it, which is just what I needed to hear. They were brilliant. But then obviously I got all emotional about how brilliant they were and then I wouldn't see them. So that's kind of how I am at the moment, I guess.
So for me, I suppose once we'd got through the difficulties of the way that I told Katie that we were going on Saturday to Marmalade Lane, for me, before we went, I was really excited because for me, this feels like the start. Saturday felt like the first time we've turned all the chat into action and something practical. We went to the co-housing community. We did homemade. They had homemade pizza night basically on Saturday night with I don't know. There must have been 40, maybe a few more people, all part of the community there. All the kids running about. We entered. The kids just got swept up with all the other kids there, and I don't know about you, but I just felt instantly quite calm, quite kind of like this just feels quite normal. Doesn't feel very radical, just feels quite normal. And I think that it was just quite reassuring really for me that we're going to spend time in these communities with these human beings that are just quite normal. They think slightly differently, but not so differently to us or anyone else really that it's intimidating or scary.
Yeah, that was really refreshing. It's one of the ladies who seems really lovely was like, sometimes I'm fed up with everyone here and I just shut my door and say, no, you can't come in, no, children, you can't leave. And that's real, isn't it? And it's... Yeah,
there was a real level of honesty,
yeah.
When they were talking to us. And we were only there for a very short amount of time, right?
Like
we arrived,
hours,
we arrived at 5 p.m. on Saturday, and then we left at before lunch because it was a last minute thing. Indy had a party on Sunday. We had to be back for Russell Brand on Sunday night, which we went to, which we'll get into. So it was an amazing little stint with Marmalade Lane. And this morning, we got an email from them saying that effectively the community has agreed to an extended stay there. We're going to be there for 3 weeks, and we'll really get under the skin of the community. Obviously, I'll be creating content in and around.
Have they said much about that? Because originally they said we weren't allowed to film.
Well, yeah, but on Saturday, yes.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm saying.
So we haven't got any footage from Saturday, other than a couple of clips on my phone just of the kids. But yeah, that's still to be worked out. Obviously, we have to be very respectful of all those people that don't want to be on camera, but there are plenty of people at Marmalade Lane that really want to spread the gospel, that really want to let people know how brilliant they think co-housing is. And so there's going to be enough people there that we can talk to and share their stories, share our thoughts about how community living really is in the real world. And again, for me, and I think for you as well, what's really great about this is just knowing that on the 6th of October, for 3 weeks, the first place we're going to is Marmalade Lane. And after that, we're not quite sure yet. We're still trying to work that out. But that is the way that this trip is going to evolve, right? We're going to be kind of working things out from week to week, month to month. We've got kind of the basic building blocks in of what we're doing the first few months, provided that COVID allows us to do it. But we're going to be spending Christmas with my sister in Cayman, because that is en route to Costa Rica, which is the place that we're going to be in sort of January, February time. And then from there, we're hoping that we'll be able to get to the US, but that will depend again on COVID. And we're still hoping to be visiting Israel and Denmark as well. It might be that Denmark is in November. But again, all this stuff still has to be worked out. The key is that Marmalade Lane is in the diary. It's our first stop, and it's a big relief for me, and I'm also really excited by those 3 weeks. Now,
my reservations are that we're still in the UK, right? And originally, the 30th of September, his birthday, we were going, right? And we didn't realise we were going to do a UK stint to start with. So I just thought, right, get on a plane and go. And now we're kind of doing 3 weeks in the UK, just about, an hour and a half, 2 hours away.
2 hours.
2 hours. I was like, well, hold on. There are still things like gym competitions or gym, things that are happening, for example, in October half term, or like a really good friend's birthday. And just things like that, which I'm like, oh, so do I have to say to myself, no, you're supposed to be on this UK road trip. You're supposed to be staying away from all of that. And then I had a conversation with you, didn't I? And we said, well, actually, that's the whole point about the community that you envisage creating, is that you still do whatever you want to do. And the people in Marmalade Lane would be like, yeah, you do what you do, and you just live with the shared space and, all the benefits that brings. So whilst I had this like kind of nervous sort of suffocation of, oh my God, I'm going to be just like an hour down the road, and but I have to say no to these things. Well, actually, it might be that they get to do a couple of other things here and there that, I don't know, it's quite exciting, really. It's quite...
Yeah, it's going to be a bit of a hybrid model,
yeah.
I think, those first 3 weeks, because we're not that far away from here. So it might be that Tats can do a little bit of gym, and Kiki can do a little bit of gym, which they're obsessed by and love. And I know that you want to come back for a couple of parties and whatnot. But, I just don't think that's a problem at all. So
no, and it's not that, I'm desperately clinging on to my life and dreading anything else. It's just that I do actually love my friends, funny enough, and I love the things that we've got the opportunity to do here. So I'd like to be able to do both if we can, and that's all I'm.
Yeah, so that's kind of cool. So so that's that, and then as if to round off our community weekend.
Oh my goodness, I cannot believe the amount of times I've heard the word community this weekend. Like, it almost makes me want to live under a hole, in a hole. By the way, I think I'm doing a really good job of being out of my comfort zone and going along with these things. Like, I did not want to go to Marmalade Lane. and I went, and I did get some, I'm being positive about it, right? But it's still not like, I didn't come back to Henley and go, oh, I wish I was still in Marmalade Lane. I came back and I was like, oh, I'm home. This is nice.
Yeah,
I'm being truthful. You always ask me to be true. I can't be anything else. I'm always just true.
And it's great, right? So, and that's the constant tension, right? So, Katie, you are very happy with status quo, right? Like, you love your life, and if you had your way, we would be staying here, climbing the greasy pole of the housing ladder, and doing what we all do, right? And I think, coming back to Russell Brand, a little bit like, well, not a little bit, I now know a lot like Russell Brand, right? I really do believe that there is a better way, that the status quo is not right, and I feel a real purpose now to shake things up and to shine a light on this other way of living, which I suspect is a way that can lift, dare I say it, humanity out of a lot of the crises that we find ourselves in. Mental, physical, spiritual, all those things, I think are, we're living in quite troubled times at the moment, and I think that this is part of the answer, and so exploring it is really, really important to me. And so when I get hit by consistent negativity, which I do from the most important person in my life who's kind of sharing this journey with me, it's really difficult, right? It's difficult for me, and of course it's difficult for Katie, and that's the thing that we're constantly trying to navigate. And I really hope that my hunch, and I've said this to you, and I've said it to people close to us, is that Katie's one of those people that when she's in the scenario, the situation, she's amazing, right? If you'd seen her at Marmalade Lane on Saturday talking to everyone, she's the life and soul, asking questions, interested, seems certainly from the outside genuinely interested in.
I am, by the way.
Yeah.
But
so my feeling is that your horizons will be opened up, and your thinking will change as we go along. Now, I know that you keep saying no, it won't.
Yeah, it will. I know it will. It will. And I am totally, being surrounded by everybody at Russell Brand yesterday, and all the types of people we've been surrounded by this weekend. I get it. I get that you spend more time with these people. Like anything, you spend more time with any type of person, and their viewpoints will probably start becoming some of your own because of, how you're listening and interacting and adapting. But
only if they're good, solid viewpoints with evidence, and it's kind of backed up by something, right? Like, otherwise,
the only slight problem with some of the stuff I've read after Russell's thing, and some of the people at Russell's thing, they're just so far off their rocker and in another universe that, I read something today that if we all just keep hugging each other, COVID will go away because there's not enough love in the world. I mean, I'm all for half of the stuff that is said at these, like Russell's thing, and then you read a comment like that and you're like, oh, you've just made it look totally ridiculous now for everybody else who's kind of on a more even keel, then you just see people like that who are just... Yeah,
but I'm the same as you with that, right?
Like, I can't... If people are too much, and, even... So I feel like I've moved away from, oh my God, a commune. What the hell is that? Why are these people just so weird? I've moved away from that, right? And I'm now in a situation where there's intentional living communities or shared living, co-housing, whatever you want to call it, that are working in this day and age, and that are suitable for everybody, and you don't need to be with in each other's pockets. You don't, all of that sort of stuff we've said over and over, and I'm learning about that. So when I see some kind of people comment on Russell's community idea going, oh, they all just want to live in a commune and they're all just idiots, like, there is part of me that's like, no, it's not quite like that. So I probably used to be someone like that, and I'm now looking at them thinking that they've got really closed minds and they just think what I used to think. So I'm kind of, I'm enjoying the fact that I've moved a slight mindset, but I just don't see myself moving too far into the whole, let's all just, sit cross-legged and think that the world will carry on being fine.
Yeah, and look, what's interesting about that is that I'm the same as you, right? Ultimately I'm not a hippie, right? But,
I think deep down we could both be quite hippie-ish. We can be.
Yeah, but I would like to think that there's the capacity within me to be more spiritual than I am at the moment. That was one of the things that I took from Russell's talk, actually, is that, we sat there and we chanted, right? Now, look, I am not a person that's ever really done that, participated in that before. But I went there with an open mind and I really enjoyed it. When you go to anything with an open mind, you can find yourself getting swept away with it. And I really did. I really enjoyed it. I didn't come away from it going, oh, right, I'm going to chant every day now. But what I did was I was just really open to it. And, I think I took quite a lot from it. I don't know whether you felt the same way. But I suppose the bigger thing than the chanting was just listening to Russell talk about community and his very specific view that we've got things wrong, and that there needs to be some quite radical change. And ultimately, I'm really aligned with him in terms of that. What I found a little bit frustrating about the event was that, the event was titled Community, and he got everyone there thinking in a different way, in a really connected way, but there was no obvious action or outcome off the back of it that kind of people could take forward. Katie said to me the other day, we were talking about like social media and what I'm trying to build, and she was like, well, this again, it just plays into the negativity that I get quite consistently from my dear wife. You're boring people, you're saying the same stuff over and over again. No one's interested. And I'm like,
some people are interested. That isn't true. Some people are interested.
Yeah, but my point is that I know that this isn't for everyone, right? Like, I know that. But for those people that are interested, you've got to be consistent and stay true to what you believe.
Yeah.
And also, you've got to kind of keep hammering home the points that you're discovering and trying to get across to people. And, I definitely believe that is the way forward. Like, we are going to find ourselves in a bit of a niche in terms of co-housing, communal living, all that sort of stuff. But I actually happen to think that this is quite a big and growing niche. I think it's quite zeitgeisty at the moment in terms of...
That's the second most used word of this weekend.
Yeah, but I don't think I've used it once so far in this vlog. So I'm all right using it. But I do think it is for now, for this time, this subject that we're exploring, because I think a lot of people are awakened to this idea, and that was actually proven by what we did on Sunday night when we were in a tent with all those people that I think are all connected in that belief that there's another way. So that's it. That's where we are at the minute. It's been an exciting weekend, full of ups and downs as ever. We're super excited that we've got Marmalade Lane in the diary. We are going there, and actually I'd like to put on record how grateful we are to them for having us and believing that we're going to add some value to their very impressive community. Anything from you?
You were actually quite sweet, weren't you, this weekend? Because it was like...
You were going to say something nice.
You were like...